Hiya! Today we are going to talk about a news article that was recently published by the developers of Artificial Core. Honestly, the article contains some incredible information that excited me greatly. This is the first video on this channel, so I would really appreciate your support in the form of likes, subscriptions or comments, as it is very important for the video to appear in recommendations. Let's not delay the introduction and get straight to the analysis and news article. First, let's discuss the summer update. Throughout July, developers plan to introduce several new contact activities. They have a detailed schedule for the next 4 weeks. The first new feature will be a PvP arena. Players will compete against each other in solo and group formats on special randomly selected arenas. It is still unknown whether multiple maps will be available from the start or if they will be added gradually, but they have already been announced. The arena will have a ranking component, and it appears that there will also be a non-ranked mode. Therefore, users will be able to compete with each other, climb their leaderboards, and earn various bonuses for their achievements. It's worth noting that based on hints from the official Discord server, there is a chance that the arena could be added as early as next week. In simple terms, we probably won't have to wait long for its introduction. The game team doesn't plan to stop there. Soon after the release of the PvP arena, the developers intend to introduce full-fledged PvE arenas. This will be a separate format which will likely undergo testing first and later become a permanent part of some PvE activities. We will talk about this a bit later. The PvE arena is essentially a closed map with points of interest, with a boss located in the center. 2 teams of 4 players each face off against each other without the ability to attack one another directly. Their goal is to kill the boss faster than the opposing team, with both teams sharing a single health pool for the boss. The side that deals more damage to the boss wins. To help you track your results more easily, a special damage meter will be available during the fight, showing the damage dealt by your team and the enemy team. Moreover, the battle itself will be much more flexible than it might seem at first glance. Before the match begins, both sides will be able to select positive and negative effects that will apply to their own team and to the opposing team. The positive effects will strengthen your team and make the fight easier for your allies, while negative effects will target your opponents, making it harder for them to defeat the boss. In addition to these 2 activities, there will be runes, something that players have been waiting for about 4 months. These runes will differ from previous ones because each rune is an ability that you can apply to your artifact to activate it. In simple terms, we will have a list of 24 skills that you can use situationally on your character to make it stronger. Most likely, receipts and ingredients for these runes will be obtained on new arenas, which should attract players' attention. Plans for July are complete. Thanks to information from Artificial Core, we also know about their plans for August. It's worth noting that the development pace remains steady, and it seems the company intends to continue flooding players with new activities. The next activity will be the first full-fledged dungeon. It is called Depot, and you can find it right in the center of this very depot on the map, slightly below the city of Riverise. In this location, you will be able to enter an instance that will operate as a separate instance, meaning it will be generated individually for each group. The depot will introduce a whole set of completely unique enemies that haven't appeared in Corepunk before. We will have to fight against certain robots and automated systems. The dungeon itself will resemble that we see in other MMORPGs. Therefore, you will have a sizable map populated with various enemies and 5 bosses. There are 2 ways to complete this location. The first mode is the classic dungeon, essentially a 4-player zone that can be made more challenging using keys and affixes, which in turn will affect your rewards. The second mode is more interesting. It's a continuation of the PvE arena mode, which once again indicates that the arena itself is not a fully independent format. 2 teams will appear on this map and can progress through it. The side that clears the dungeon first and shows better results will receive a special reward. Thus, players will be able to compete against each other in a PvE format if they wish, or simply clear this activity in a regular group. And yes, there will be no full loot like in the previously mentioned modes, so you can forget about endless frustration frustration over losing equipment. But the changes don't end there. Artificial Core explicitly stated in their news updates that they sometimes face issues with deadlines and often postpone content releases, which can disappoint players. However, they decided to share information about another activity that, under ideal conditions, the developers would like to release this summer. They aim to add full-fledged battlegrounds to the gameplay, allowing players to engage in PvP without a ranking system and with the opportunity to enjoy the activity without worrying about losing equipment. The game team spoke vaguely on this matter but mentioned that the plans include implementing several medium-sized maps to diversify the gameplay experience. They only showed us a sketch of a map for a capture the flag format. Most likely, they may also introduce control point capture mode for earning points and possibility a full mobile map similar to Heroes of the Storm. Overall, all three modes have been announced for quite some time and it can be assumed that they are currently in development. Now let's talk about plans for a more distant future, specifically for the fall. The key focus for the developers in recent months has been resolving numerous technical issues that prevented players from fully enjoying the gameplay. Most of these problems have been addressed, and the remaining ones are being worked on gradually in the background. Currently, all team efforts are directed toward creating high-quality, repeatable content designed to engage the community, motivate players to log into the game, and most importantly, establish a solid foundation for new users. This foundation will later support the integration of new systems that will make the gameplay even more exciting. Specifically, only after releasing everything mentioned in previous points will the developers move on to September updates. So, what will be introduced in September? The most important and anticipated feature by a significant part of the Corepunk community is guilds. Currently, this functionality is absent from the game, but with September's arrival, it will become a reality. The developers plan not just to add a button for players to join guilds based on text, but also to introduce related content into the open world. Along with adding guild features, there will be a major overhaul of the map, which will include new activities and challenges for raid groups. This will include constant dynamic events serving as points of interest, as well as unique weekly and seasonal events requiring varying number of participants. Simultaneously, the game team will integrate new PvE activities. We can expect an expansion of dungeon formats and introduction of entirely new PvE modes that will enhance the overall gaming experience. The developers haven't specified exactly what these are, but given that they are mentioned in the context of raid activities, it's likely they are referring to full-fledged raids, something that was previously announced by company representatives. But that's not all. Also planned for September is something that probably most of the Corepunk audience has been waiting for: new classes. Before the game's official release, 11 new heroes are expected to be added, and it is the arrival of September that the developers plan to start integrating them into the gameplay. This doesn't mean one character per month, no. They will appear in groups of several at a time, allowing you, the viewers, to choose which ones you'd like to try out this month. According to Artificial Core, they aim to have all characters implemented before the official launch of the project. Additionally, it was noted that besides all these features and change, the developers will continue adding quality of life improvements and new systems necessary for the game. Work on balancing will also persist, along with fixing existing bugs and optimizing the client. Now for the most exciting part: when the release happen and how will it proceed? Artificial Core published their final vision on this matter. The first and most important thing you need to know is that they don't plan to postpone the release, and currently there is not a single reason to do so. Therefore, we can expect the full launch of the project from early access in December 2025. The second thing you should be aware of is the server wipe or progress reset. It has been decided that the wipe will indeed take place on launch day, but there are some nuances. All content associated with your account will be erased, and you'll have to start from scratch if you play it during early access. However, all previously earned achievements, cosmetic items, and in-game currency from the shop will not be reset. This means that these items will carry over into the full release and you can use them without restrictions. The developers justified this swipe economically. It will help attract a large influx of new players who otherwise might have missed out on the game altogether. Thirdly, after full release, Corepunk's price will increase as previously announced because it distributed through a fair buy-to-play system, with purely cosmetic monetization that cannot be sold or transferred. The game completely excludes pay-to-win elements. In conclusion, the Artificial Core published the full list of updates the Corepunk has received over the past 7 months and thanked all players, content creators and critics who have helped the project develop in recent months. Nowadays, very few Western companies genuinely work on their games. I see new projects weekly that reach release and are forgotten within a couple of weeks. Not by players, but the developers themselves who simply aren't interested in further supporting the game. They noticed waning interest in an unfinished game and quickly moved towards almost complete halting of development. Artificial Core has demonstrated through actors rather than words that they are different. For several months now, we have been receiving substantial updates every week, and very soon they will become even more significant for our community. It's really great to realize that such games and developers still exist. That's all for my video. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please give it a like and share your impressions in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe. It really motivates me to produce new content faster and helps you to stay updated with notifications about new releases. Thank you in advance for your activity and see you very soon. Bye!